If you're living on a pension or Social Security, going to the supermarket in the United States has become a stress-inducing event. A couple bags of basic food could cost you over $100. Many YouTube pundits say that retiring to Mexico is a solution, that the food is practically free. But when I just spent 3 weeks scouting the Yucatán Peninsula, I didn't want to rely on rumors. I wanted hard data.
So I took my camera into local bodegas, massive expat supermarkets, and authentic Maya markets, and I tracked the actual price tags. Today, we're putting the cost of living to the test with the GeoPension Grocery Index.
So I've done the math, I've converted the pesos to dollars, and I'm going to show you the receipts. You may be shocked by what I found.
So here is the golden rule of affordable retirement abroad. Live like a local to thrive. Pay the Gringo tax for imported comforts. If you adapt to local staples, your Social Security check will stretch incredibly far. If you insist on living exactly like you did in Oregon or Ohio, you may wish you stayed there. Let me show you exactly what I mean. But before we look at the first receipt, I want to remind you that my new book, How to Retire Abroad on a Social Security Budget, is officially live on Amazon in paperback or Kindle for less than the cost of a movie rental. It's the ultimate step-by-step written playbook for the GeoPension framework, teaching you how to manage your finances, navigate visas, and stretch that fixed income into an abundant lifestyle overseas. Scan the QR code on your screen right now or click the link at the very top of the video description to grab your copy today. All right, let's go shopping. Let's start with the basics. What does it cost to just live a normal, healthy life, eating local Mexican staples? I went into a standard mini super in the charming colonial city of Valladolid to find out. First up, a dozen eggs. The U.S. national average is currently sitting around $3.50. In Valladolid, a carton of local white eggs cost me 36 pesos, which converts to just $2.12. Basic dairy and protein are significantly cheaper when bought at local spots. Next, fresh produce. This is where Mexico absolutely shines with year-round availability of fabulous fresh fruits and veggies. I went to the massive La Comer supermarket in Tulum, a relatively expensive tourist town. Even there, Roma tomatoes were 32 pesos a kilo. Converted to American metrics, that's just 86 cents a pound. The US average? Over $2.15 a pound. You can't live in Mexico without avocados. In the US, you're paying upwards of $1.50 to $2 for a single avocado, which, by the way, comes from Mexico. Buying bulk Hass avocados in Valladolid comes out to $2.69 a pound. That breaks down to roughly 80 cents per avocado. It's the ultimate staple of a healthy diet, for pennies on the dollar. But what about meat? In Tulum, I checked the price for local beef chuck steak in the fancy La Comer supermarket. It was 165 pesos per kilo. That's $4.32 a pound. The U.S. national average for that exact cut is around $7.50 a pound. Local beef, butchered in Mexico, is roughly 40% cheaper than back home. So far, the math looks great, right? But here's the reality check, and it's a trap that catches thousands of new expats every year. You cannot simply move to the Yucatan and throw all the exact same American brand names into your cart. If you demand imported familiarity, you will pay what I call the Gringo tax. Let's go back to the meat counter at the fancy supermarket in Tulum. We just saw local beef was $4.32 a pound. If you refuse to eat the local cuts and insist on USDA imported ribeye steak, that will cost you 1,249 pesos a kilo. That's $32.73 a pound. You're paying nearly double what you would pay in the States just for the privilege of having it shipped across the border. So what about specialty health items? Although they're widely available in the bigger markets, you're gonna pay up. For example, Ezekiel sprouted grain bread averages $6.50 a loaf in the US. In Mexico, it's $12 a loaf. You're paying a massive premium for refrigerated American branded health foods. I know a lot of seniors like me are focused on high protein diets these days to avoid muscle loss as we age. But can you find protein powder in Mexico? Well, I went to a health food store in the center of Merida. A 5-pound tub of imported Optimum Nutrition whey protein costs about $80 in the US on Amazon. In Merida, it costs 1,890 pesos, or $109. Yes, you can find exactly what you need in Mexico, but heavy imported tubs carry a massive $30 premium. But check out this item. Locally made protein powder for 1/3 the price per pound. I carried this bag with me the whole trip to make protein smoothies on demand. 0 added sugar, 0 carbs, and the flavor name is Little Chocolate Bunny. It was great. And don't think fast food is immune to the Gringo tax. If you get lazy and default to recognizable US chains instead of walking to a local taqueria, you pay for the branding. A Whopper meal at a Burger King in downtown Merida with a chocolate sundae cost me over $18. You're literally paying extra to eat worse food. Well, so much for supermarkets and fast food. How do the smartest expats in Mexico eat incredibly well for almost nothing? Well, they skip the brightly lit aisles of the big box stores entirely, and they become regulars at places like this. This is the Mercado Lucas de Galvez in downtown Merida. It is visually stunning, totally chaotic, overflowing with life and energy, and it is the beating heart of the city's food culture. When you buy your produce, your spices, and your fish straight from the local Mayan vendors here, the prices drop another 20 to 30% below the local supermarkets we just looked at. You can sit down and have a massive plate of world-class fresh ceviche for just a few dollars. It requires you to speak a little Spanish, to carry cash, and to step outside your comfort zone. But this is the true magic of the geopension lifestyle. So let's look at the final receipts. If you build a weekly grocery basket of local meats, fresh Mercado produce, and local dairy, you can comfortably feed a single retiree in the Yucatan for under $50 a week. But if you fill that basket with imported ribeye, American protein powder, and US brand name snacks, your grocery bill could actually be higher than it was back in the US. The data proves it. Mexico is incredibly affordable, but only if you're willing to actually live in Mexico. For me, I take great comfort in knowing I can find virtually any American-made specialty item here in the Yucatan, if I really need it, and there's no local equivalent. There's a huge Costco in Merida and several Walmarts and Sam's Clubs around the peninsula, but for my day-to-day needs, living like a local is living large.
So let me know in the comments below, what is the one item you'd be willing to pay the Gringo tax for to keep it in your pantry? If you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to my channel for more content like this.
And if you want to see how these grocery prices fit into the overall cost of renting an apartment and living in the Yucatan, check out my full geopension report card videos for Tulum Pueblo, Campeche, and Valladolid.
And don't forget to grab a copy of my new book, How to Retire Abroad on a Social Security Budget. Available now on Kindle and in paperback. Just click that QR code on your screen or click the link at the very top of the video description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.